Dudes of Horror, we're back. I'm Damien.
I'm Toots.
And Wormboy.
And we're finally going to review what I think is one of the greatest contemporary classic horror comedies, Shaun of the Dead. We just sat down and watched it together.
Great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Great fucking movie.
It's basically a flawless horror comedy, directed by Edgar Wright. It came out in 2004, starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. This was the unofficial start to the Cornetto trilogy, which it's now known, the Edgar Wright movies. The Edgar Wright trilogy with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. So, I remember first seeing this movie when I was in college back in '04, and I think for at least a month straight I watched this movie like every day.
At the theater?
No, when I got the DVD.
Oh, okay.
I never saw this movie in theaters because I mean it was originally a UK release, right? Like it wasn't really released in that many theaters here in the States back then, I don't think.
Yeah, it was in Brownsville. I saw it at theaters.
But I do know that my brother saw this movie at the Alamo Drafthouse in Austin, and he actually met Simon Pegg and Nick Frost there.
And how were they like?
And he said they were really nice, but my brother had no idea because the movie. I guess the thing is the back then in its initial release it didn't get like this huge amount of exposure here in the United States. So my brother he didn't even know like who they were.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know what the movie was. He didn't know like who they were. So when he met them, he had to just kind of like play it off like. But he said Simon Pegg was like a really nice guy. Like oh yeah, how'd you like my movie? But anyway, I mean it's become like a huge cult classic movie. Like
Yeah. If you haven't seen this movie, you're living under a rock. And let me just say this is a great fucking movie. It's just so hard to point out what's the best part because I think the whole movie kept me entertained, and I think everyone else that's seen it it's a good movie. It's like there's so much there's a good mix of the horror and a good mix of the comedy, and it meshes so well that they don't overdo it, you know.
And there's even some good underrated drama in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember I think like a year or two before Shaun of the Dead came out, a friend of mine had like a shirt and it had Simon Pegg with the cricket, with the cricket bat. But I didn't know what it was. And I'm not sure if he knew what it was. But I remember somebody I knew wore it and I was like, what does that mean? Like that. And then it wasn't until the Coming Soon poster came out at our local theater that I was like, oh, I remember that pose. Like it's it was Simon Pegg like in the front of the like the typical cover to the the Blu-ray, the DVD, the movie poster.
See, and now today in 2018 that image has become like iconic. Like everybody knows when they see Simon Pegg with the white button-up shirt with the red tie with the cricket mallet, like that's Shaun from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, and I remember I saw the poster and I'm like, that looks interesting, and I forgot who I saw it with, and I remember watching it and I just really really liked it, because and the thing is once I found out like oh it's a romantic comedy with zombies, because that's how they were billing it, or advertising it. I was like, oh, that looks interesting, and I remember watching it, and I was laughing, like, it was funny, and I was catching a lot of the zombie references to the Romero movies, especially the scene where they're calling Simon Pegg, they're calling Barbara,
the mom,
and Ed's like, we're coming to get you, Barbara, like that. Which, fun fact, from what I understand, is that George Romero, when he first saw the movie, didn't get his own reference. And I think Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, or Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg had to explain it, no, that's from Night of the Living Dead. So I liked all the little Easter eggs, I liked all the little references and the music cues.
Yeah, the music is great as well. And the part I know that I was kind of like, why are they they doing these to these vinyls?
Mhm.
But it was funny though, because they were choosing the shitty ones.
The Batman soundtrack.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
And then
See,
he missed.
I
throughout
agree,
most
yeah.
of them.
I like Prince and all, and I like some of the songs from the Batman soundtrack, but man, like, most of that soundtrack wasn't really good,
And
in my opinion.
And the one, what was it called? The one that belonged to Liz. He's like, fuck it,
Oh,
fuck
Sade.
you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, what makes the movie really good, though, is that it's actually about, like, there's actually human drama going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Shaun's kind of, like, living, like, this humdrum life, which is the Simon Pegg character. And he's sort of, like, he's living with his best friend, who's Ed, which is played by Nick Frost. And he's just, like, a total, like, lazy bum.
Bastard.
Like, that doesn't do anything, that never goes to work, he just sits there and plays video games all day, and he occasionally sells weed to make money.
To make money.
Yeah.
And his other roommate, Pete, is, because they're kind of like, they kind of like hinted they all went to school together,
Mm-hmm.
and Pete's kind of like moved on to adulthood, like he has a real job, and he's kind of struggling because he's living with these guys, and then Shaun is kind of like in the middle.
Yeah.
There's kind of like this tug of war thing going on.
Yeah, there's like a spectrum that you have, you know, lazy Ed and then like adult Pete, you know.
And then you have
And
Shaun.
then you have Shaun in the middle and he's kind of,
And Shaun is struggling to make that last step towards adulthood. So
Mhm.
he's kind of like he like works in a electronics store, and his girlfriend Liz is getting impatient with him, and she wants to dump him. And and then there's all this, like, there's this other side story with his relationship with his mom and his stepdad.
It's not my dad.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like he has an estranged relationship with his stepdad.
Yeah.
So
It's creepy when, you know, the dad is dying or he's turning to a zombie in the car, and then that's when he really starts to talk to it. And I
yeah,
was
Yeah.
like, really?
well, it's because he knows he's dying.
Yeah.
So it's that you know, that farewell death speech.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like, I just wanted to be a good dad.
But I mean, everything about the movie works. Like,
mm-hmm.
and the filmmakers even said like we don't want the zombie elements to be comedy. Like,
No, they were
all
horror.
the zombie elements are real horror. Like, there's real danger there. But
Yeah.
there's all these, the characters get caught up in all these comedic situations when they're trying to like, evade the zombies and survive.
Yeah,
So
like,
it's just, but it's like Edgar, like what you said, Edgar Wright got it he got that balance just right with the drama and the comedy and the horror elements.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
I think that's what really makes the movie really great, because
Yeah.
they don't overdo it in the comedy, they didn't overdo it in the horror, and then the story as well. Like, everything's mixed so well.
Yeah, the zombie element, like, and I kind of say this about other zombie movies like The Walking Dead or Night of the Living Dead, where, in my opinion, the zombie element shouldn't be the be-all, end-all. It shouldn't be the cake itself. You know, the drama, the human, the interactions, the emotion, everything, that has to be the cake. The blood and the gore and the zombies and everything, the action has to be just the frosting.
Yeah, that's the
You
filler.
know, that has to be the cherry on top. You know, because the thing is, if they're trying to make a movie just strictly just the zombie element and it's just a bunch of action and blood and gore, but nothing else behind it,
There's no story.
you're eating just nothing but frosting, and it gets sickening after a while.
and you don't care about the characters.
And you don't care about the characters.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like the scenario, the drama parts, like you said, David.
Mhm.
Like when he has to choose between killing his mom or not killing his mom, and then, oh, you've been in love with her all this time, and he's like, no, I haven't.
and that's kind of like
And
the
I was
hype.
like, what?
That's
And the first time I saw it, I was like, really?
Yeah, that's like the climax of the
Yeah.
drama.
That scene is kind of like the most, like it's the most emotional, dramatic part of the whole movie, like where everything, all the character building kind of like reaches its climax,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's just like, it's acted really well,
Yeah, it
like
is.
Simon Pegg and all the actors, but I mean, like, it's hard this movie is like flawless, like honestly, as a horror comedy.
Mhm.
Like, you can tell that the filmmakers really have a love and a passion for the genre, and they put a lot of work into this. They put a lot of work into the script, into the acting, into the production, like
All the little details.
and it's hard to talk about like if we were to sit here
Like
and say
criticisms.
yeah, but like if we were to sit here and say like what's your favorite scene, like favorite scenes, because every scene
I like
in
it.
the movie,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just hard to choose. I think almost every part of the movie's good. I
Yeah.
mean,
or favorite quotes in the movie.
oh,
Yeah,
so-
we have
well, that's a
The
lot.
entire movie is quotable, so it's like.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Like one of my favorite moments. Oh yeah, the I'm sorry.
No, I'm really sorry.
You know, and then the silent but deadly.
Yeah, the Silent Deadly part.
Yeah, and like for instance, I like that whole.
Oh my god, that's rotten!
Like I like that whole interaction between Pete and Ed.
Yeah.
Like once they were drunk and everything, and he's like, "Can you see why I was so fucking angry? Fuck yeah!" Like just egging him on.
Yeah.
Like I just love that whole interaction.
See, and that's kind of like the peak of the drama in that dynamic.
In that situation.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because that's the last scene where Pete's alive.
yeah,
So
Before he turns.
where he finally snaps at Ed, and
Yeah.
then he kind of has that. He has that line. Pete has that line that like explains the whole dynamic between Shaun and Ed,
hmm
where he's like, why do you keep him around? Like all he ever does is hold you back. And then he says to Shaun like, or does it make you happy having someone around who's more of a loser than you
There
are?
you are. Yeah.
Or does it make your life easier? And then he's like, what is it? Because that's when Liz had finally dumped Shaun.
yeah,
Mm.
Pete
And
said,
then I think part of what Sean's doing is he's trying to kind of get back with her unconsciously, but not so much unconsciously. Like
even subconscious.
he's trying to, yeah, subconsciously. He's trying to like win her back by being the hero essentially.
No, I think he
That's
was.
what I thought he
trying,
was
I
doing.
think
it was on a conscious level.
no, it was on a conscious level.
Well,
I
because
think he-
before he passes out drunk in the kitchen, he writes his little to-do list, and he's like, something about his mom, visit mom,
Visit mom.
get Liz back, get life together, but it's
Yeah.
written all chicken scratch on
Yeah.
the little eraser board on the refrigerator.
No, I think he was consciously
Doing it up.
being the hero. Yeah, just to try to win her back.
Yeah.
Even though at one point she calls him out on it.
And he's
But it's
like,
like, I
no,
thought-
we're focusing on her.
Yeah, like I thought this wasn't about you trying to win me back. This is about survival. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, of course. You
But
know,
also,
But
also
also-
to win you back.
yeah. So that was a conscious decision on his
Decision.
part in terms of
And there's
Being
so
there.
much reference and homage in this movie
Mhm.
to other horror movies, and not even other horror movies, just other movies like Sean's boss being named Ash,
hmm
and like when Sean's in the restroom and he pushes the mirror of the medicine cabinet
Yeah.
closed and Pete's there, and it's a homage to American Werewolf in London,
hmm
like
when he
or
called
like what we were talking about earlier, like Sean with the red tie around his head is a
Yeah, the deer
reference to
hunter.
the deer hunter, Christopher Walken's character in the Deer Hunter.
yeah, when he calls Fulci's restaurant. Fulci is actually the last name of the director that directed Zombie, the one that has like the it says like we eat the living or whatever, like that's the tagline for it. So that Italian movie, like that's the director.
Wow.
So yeah, Fulci's
I
the
didn't know
director. Yeah, and Edgar Wright's the one that's making the voice.
Yeah,
Fulci's restaurant. Yeah.
it's Edgar Wright doing a
Mhm.
purposely bad Italian accent.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just gave away the last table.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, like I like there's that very, very, very small subplot with Sean's old friend Yvonne,
hmm
Oh yeah.
who they kind of hint was like a friend of his from school or something,
I thought he
but
was a girlfriend.
I think they used to go out and then
she's like the same
they're just
age as
friends.
him.
Yeah.
But I think the point of it is like she's like the same age as him,
hmm
but like Pete, she's already become more of an adult than him. Like she's like when they
She's
meet
more
up in the
successful.
street.
hmm
When they meet up in the street, she's talking about how she's already bought a house, and like Sean's still like renting an apartment, like he's a student. or a flat, as they call them in the UK. And then I love the scene where it's like two zombie survival movies crossing paths, where they have that parallel scene with Yvonne with her survival
With her group, yeah.
and they're passing through the alleys in the between the houses, and it's like a perfect parallel as the groups are passing each other. There's one for one, like David passes, and there's a guy very similar to like.
Which is what's his name?
No. The one that was supposed to be, I think, like Simon Pegg, like Shaun. And I didn't realize this until I saw it right now. It was Martin Freeman that was Declan, the one behind Yvonne. Like I never realized it was him until I saw it.
Yeah.
A little while
I
ago.
think the girl was supposed to be Simon, right?
Yeah, the girl's supposed.
Well,
the girl's supposed to be. Is she supposed to be like Simon?
Well,
or
I mean,
like
the
Liz?
point of the
Similar.
the point of the scene, the point
It's
of
supposed to be like similar groups. It's supposed
The
to
point- yeah,
like in
like
different parallels.
Yeah,
like
that's the guy.
it's like
Yeah.
if two like Yvonne's, it's like Yvonne's having her own like Yvonne of the Dead, and the two movies like intersect at that one moment, and then
So-
they're perfect parallels. And
So Martin Freeman would be the Liz character of that group.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe she's doing the same thing. That
Yeah,
she's doing that.
Simon-
Yeah.
and Yvonne's like Shaun, the parallel. She's like the leader, but she's actually a lot more
Prepared.
efficient as a leader. Like, and it's another point in the movie where they have a little conversation and they're discussing each other's plans, and she's got this like much better plan.
Yeah, and
And then
Sean's just like,
yeah,
we're
she-
just gonna go to the
Yeah,
Winchester.
she's like, where are you guys going?
So at a pub. Yeah. Well, good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, but she kind of says it. She kind of says it like the Winchester, the pub. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
And I think the whole part of it is that's where Sean and Ed feel the most secure, you know, at Winchester, because that's where they always go to drink and, you know, spend time.
And that's another good
And I
scene.
think that's the central part.
Yeah, that's another good scene. The whole climax and the.
Oh yeah,
At the
especially before
Winchester.
they get in, like that was funny. To be honest, I couldn't stop cracking up
Yeah.
because he answers the phone right before they're gonna, like the zombies are getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, 1 minute, mate. And then
Yeah,
that's
2
where,
seconds.
yeah, and that's where Sean kind of flips out and tells him off.
Yeah.
But that's another good comedic scene that has the those fast cuts that Edgar Wright does
Mm-hmm.
when they're coming up with their stupid plans.
Oh yeah, the montage.
And they have to keep changing their plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best plan they come up with, of course, is going to the Winchester.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those quick cuts, like
Yeah.
go to mom's, take care of Philip, like take
Sorry,
Pete's car.
Philip.
Like,
Yeah.
or it always starts with like take Pete's car, go to mom's, take care of Philip, and then it's like go to Liz's, have a cup of tea, and like in their fantasies, it's the middle of the zombie apocalypse, but everybody's like really happy, like
Yeah.
everyone's all
And
like
he's like-
looking at the camera. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, if you remember, after Liz dumps Shaun, and they're drinking at the pub at the Winchester, and you hear Ed like, "All right, let's go out. Let's get a couple drinks. Let's go around go to the King's Head and this and that."
Yeah.
I remember in the commentary where Edgar Wright mentions that all the stuff he's talking about there is pretty much what happens in the movie,
yeah,
so to speak. You
he
know,
foreshadows like every.
Yeah, he
event
foreshadows
in the movie.
everything.
Wow.
And where he's like stammer back here and
And take a couple shots.
behind the bar.
He
Yeah,
just
he's
wants to
up
party
behind
all the
bar.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's like the scene where Diane's character is teaching them how to act like zombies,
Mm-hmm.
because they have that one zombie impaled up against the tree, and so they're using him as an example because he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And she's like I guess they kind of hint that she's like a failed actress, or like
Yeah.
she's like a actress that
She's a
hasn't-
struggling actress.
Yeah, she's a struggling actress.
Yeah.
So she's teaching them all how to act like zombies, and then they all like practice, and it's hilarious.
I like the one where the mom's not even doing anything. She's like, oh, that's good. I was like, oh, I was
Oh, yeah, I was
1,000 miles away.
Sorry, dude, I was miles away.
Sorry.
But it's funny because the way Edgar Wright shoots it where they just slowly pans it and then it's just her, like the entire frame.
Mhm.
And she's just kind of like catatonic, almost like.
Yeah, and of course, one of my favorite scenes also, and I'm sure y'all's favorite scenes also, is the scene in the backyard where they find Mary and there's a girl in the garden. Like, what? In the garden, there's a girl.
Wasted.
Yeah.
She's fucking drunk.
And originally they were gonna say like, oh my God, she's so pissed.
Yeah, I was
Cause
gonna say.
yeah, because that's what it means. Like, well,
That's what it means in London.
in the UK, being pissed means drunk. But of course here, people are gonna think like, oh, she's pissed off.
She's
Like,
angry.
yeah.
And I remember when the movie first came out on DVD back in '04, they were talking about that because now when you watch the movie, like Simon Pegg just says she's so drunk,
Hmm.
but back then you could actually find the UK version of the movie where they had redubbed it, so he actually mouths she's so pissed, but the dialogue is they redubbed it as like, so you can see him mouth pissed, but he still says she's so drunk.
Hmm.
So I never got my hands on. I'm sure. And back then it was really hard to find the UK version, but I'm sure now it's really easy to find.
Yeah, there's probably several copies out there.
Yeah.
But,
Or on YouTube, you know, you may look it up.
but I mean, it's just every scene is littered with all these little funny comedic moments. So
Hmm.
it's hard to. You can't really like say, well, my favorite scene is this. My favorite scene is this, because
Yeah.
every scene is hilarious.
Yeah, and I think this is one of my top favorite movies in this genre, the
Yeah.
horror comedy genre.
Yeah, it's up there. It's one of the top, 3 or top 5, horror
It's-
comedies.
There's like hardly any flaws in my opinion, and I mean there's only so much you can say when, you know.
And I love all the little motifs in the movie. Like how at some point in the movie, every character tells Shaun, they always say to Shaun, "You've got red on you."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, the
every
running gag
character
where it's
says-
Even when he it's funny when he already has blood and they still tell him like, "Do you have it on you?"
"You've got red
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I like the little running gags. Some are shorter than others. Like for instance, where he's always short on money whenever he goes to a little store.
Mm.
And then like you see the zombie, store owner come out and he's like, with his hand out, like expecting money, even though he's a zombie.
Because he's always short.
Yeah, he's always short on money.
you." And that's another good scene. The two different shots of Shaun walking to the store,
Hmm.
and they're shot like in the exact same way.
Yeah,
But one is the day before the zombie outbreak, and then and then the second one is the morning after the outbreak.
I mean he's pissed when he got drunk.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
takes the same path, and for the most part, all the same characters are in the same spots in the street,
Mm.
but now they're zombies.
yeah,
Like the little kid playing soccer, the jogger, the guy washing his car.
Yeah, and even-
the homeless person.
even the homeless person with the dog, and
Yeah,
and even at the beginning in the credit sequence where you see everybody alive,
yeah.
that you eventually see as zombies later in the movie.
Mhm.
Like that, like even like the I guess like the gang, whatever, that you see them like walking
Yeah.
slowly, the people waiting for the bus,
Like this is one of those movies
Mary
where
at the cashiers.
they filled this movie with so many little things that are
Mhm.
fun
And they
Yeah.
make a difference.
that it's impossible to notice them all upon the first view.
Yeah, I didn't notice when you
So-
told me about the store owner.
Yeah, like that's a perfect
I didn't notice it because I was just focused on Shaun, but when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah, like I didn't realize,
Nelson.
and I think thanks to the commentary, I think they might have mentioned that too, where I didn't spot this the first few times I saw the movie, where when they're hauling ass to Shaun's mother's house, to Barbara's house, and you see the lawnmower, and you see like a
Oh yeah, you told me
detached
about
arm.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice it till today actually,
Yeah, I never noticed that.
because it's something very minute.
yeah, like
it's very
you
quick.
barely, it's very quick. You barely pick it up.
Yeah, but no, I mean what do you guys think overall? I mean, I give it an A+. Like, it's really good.
I honestly can't think of anything wrong with this movie. Like, There's nothing wrong with the pacing of the movie. There's nothing wrong with the writing. There's nothing wrong with the acting. The zombie practical effects.
Mhm.
Edgar Wright's directing. Like, it's a flawless zombie horror
It's a
comedy.
flawless victory.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'll say this though. I give it an A+. I love this movie.
Oh, here we go. Criticism.
To call
I hear it.
no, to call a movie
OCD.
Okay.
to call a movie flawless.
Here we go.
To call a movie like there really is no such thing as a flawless movie. There is.
isn't.
Okay, I'll say this.
We're gonna get philosophical now.
Yeah, I will say this.
Bruce Lee.
I will say this. Like, whatever mistakes there are in the movie, I can probably think of one, but it's so minor that you really won't
It
catch
wouldn't make a
things like
difference.
that. Yeah, it
Just
wouldn't
say
make a
it, just
difference.
say it.
Well, what is it?
Say it.
So I can know.
Okay. Like, and I really didn't catch this until I saw it earlier. Okay, and I know they did it for comedic effect, and so it could count. It doesn't have to count as a mistake. I guess it just depends on how you look at it. Like and this is really just nitpicking, and it's so
That
minor.
sounds
It's
like
one of those.
Yeah,
it's
just say it, say it.
all right. So for instance, when Simon is messing with the fuses,
OCD.
and you don't and everything's dark outside, and you don't hear anything until he turns on the light on the outside, and you hear the zombies like that, and he turns it off. You know, it's just like, how come he couldn't hear them before that if they were out there already moaning? You know, like this is already after the Winchester, and he makes it back alive.
Oh.
Well, that was.
I think-
And like I said, it's for comedic effect.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one of those
I
things
don't
where
think
it's
it's a. I don't think
It's
it's.
not.
Yeah,
It's not a mistake because the director Edgar Wright meant.
Meant
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't like he wasn't supposed to hear them.
Sorry, you guys.
Huh? Oh God, you really? Well, Damien's saying,
God, that's
Yeah.
rotten. No.
No, I really did part.
maybe it's like he wasn't supposed to be hearing them, but for effect, he
Yeah.
put it in like.
That's-
I don't think it's a problem.
No, it's not. I'm not saying like it takes me out of the movie or anything.
No.
It's just one of those things where it's like there really is no such thing as a flawless movie. But whatever mistakes are there, and you don't have to count that as a mistake, whatever is in there is so minor, if you can't even catch them, that you even forgive it anyway regardless.
Because the movie's already so good.
Yeah, the movie is so awesome. Everything else is so good. Like,
You
you
can forget
really
those.
don't catch any mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I still think it's flawless.
Yeah.
Okay, like officially, to give this movie a grade, the Dudes of Horror collectively give this movie an A+.
Yeah, A+.
So, as terms of zombie comedies, like, and this was more of a contemporary one, even though it's like 14 years old. But it's just, it's a flawless horror comedy. Like, if you're a horror fan, and it's, I mean, it's
Or
something,
just
it's,
even a comedy,
Yeah.
comedy fan.
it's a movie.
Or romantic comedy even.
It's a movie that you have to have in your collection. Like, Shaun of the Dead is like mandatory.
Yeah, and like I said, every time I watch it, it's like I'm watching it again, and it still cracks me up.
Yeah.
So that's how
Yeah,
good
and
the
I'm sure-
movie is, I think.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we have any comments, I'm sure there's gonna be at least a couple people that are gonna bust my balls about the whole
I'm
nitpicking
busting your
thing.
balls.
Yeah, I know. I
Very
know.
nitpicky.
It's like, yeah, and it's like, imagine a 1,000-page novel that's so awesome, but I'm sure there's one typo in there somewhere.
It?
Huh?
Or The Stand?
I think there's like 1 or 2 typos in there at least.
So, we still give it an A+, guys. Just, if you want to send a comment, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I'm the nitpicker.
Yeah.
You can't hurt me, so.
Whoop, whoop.
Alright.
So,
OCD.
Yeah.
so I guess that's our take on it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I think the movie itself deserves an A+. And
Yeah, it deserves it.
I'm still waiting for another movie to kind of have that.
It'll be
same
kind of
caliber.
It'll be kind of interesting
Part 2,
if Edgar Wright makes like
prequel.
the Yvonne version of it,
That
and
would be
and it
cool.
and it correlates everything with the
Right.
events. So it's
And
like
at
it's
some
like
point, that same scene
Comes
comes
out.
out
yeah,
like, from
exactly.
from Yvonne's group's point of view.
Hmm.
because I want to see what happened. Because with her group, I'm assuming they all died. Because she said, "Oh, at least somebody made it." Like from Shaun's group.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see any of her other people like there, so I'm assuming they all died.
Yeah. Or somehow got separated. Or,
Yeah. So.
But
And then what would happen?
Were you the one that was saying that they had like there was rumors on the internet that Shaun of the Dead Part 2 was confirmed?
But what are they gonna do in that?
Somebody was telling me that, and
Because the zombie apocalypse is already
I don't
done.
think
at
it was
this
me.
point that it's
They
been,
shouldn't do it.
Yeah, at this point, I would say at this point that it's been so long,
They shouldn't do it.
I don't think that they should, because
They're
I
gonna
don't.
mess it up.
It would be hard to like capture that same spark, like that same perfect balance.
And
You
if
know,
they do want to do something, I think a prequel with some different characters.
I would say, me personally, I would like to see a spin-off with Yvonne and her group and just everything kind of correlate everything as it's going on
Yeah,
during
and
the same
then they
day.
could actually do that without even using the same actors.
Yeah, same timeline and everything, just all the way until the very end.
Yeah, and modify it to our times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess that's our take. Watch the movie. I haven't seen it. I mean, there's a lot of clips on YouTube, but
I really,
highly recommended.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to review The World's End, which was the unofficial third movie in the Cornetto trilogy. But I'm really ashamed to say I have not seen The World's End.
Neither have
I
I.
haven't seen it.
I haven't seen. I really wanted to see it when I saw the previews.
I haven't even really seen Hot Fuzz.
No, I've
You
seen
haven't
Hot
seen
Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz?
No.
Hot Fuzz was good, but I do like Shaun of the Dead more than I like Hot Fuzz. But I remember seeing the previews of The World's End, and I really wanted to see it because it seemed like it had like that same touch like Shaun of the Dead, but I never got around.
Is it
to
a
seeing
horror comedy or what is
It's like
it?
a
Kind of.
sci-fi.
It's like
Sci-fi.
sci-fi horror, kind of like Invasion
Sci-fi.
of the Body Snatchers type of thing, or
Okay.
The Day the Earth Stood Still, I guess. That's what it looked
Yeah,
like.
maybe we can do it down the road.
I was almost like David right now. Like, you haven't met his mom. You haven't seen Hot Fuzz?
I've seen pieces of
Still
it.
haven't met his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if anybody has any comments about Shaun of the Dead, or if there's any other, like we always say, if there's any other movies that y'all would like to see us review, or any other horror comedies, or any horror movies, like just give us a comment in the comment section.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So.
We're the Dudes of Horror. That was our review of Shaun of the Dead. I really wanted to review this movie for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Damien.
I'm Toots.
And Wormboy. We'll see you guys next time.